your story changed over time?
Of course. Speaking is a very, gosh, I've been doing it now for 10 years in front of a lot of people, but it can be terrifying, right? I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. And I changed my messaging because I wanted the kids to understand that their message matters too. And their story matters. And, if they can identify with how I felt at 14, 16, or 17, maybe they're more willing to share how they feel. And that's kind of been the goal. And since I've started this, and if you asked me 10 years ago, would I be on a Zoom, from Seekonk, Massachusetts, with students from UTEP, I wouldn't believe you. I have unbelievable admiration for what you guys are doing. I wish that I had that when I was your age. So, never lose sight and never let go of that power that you have and the gift right now that you have been given.
I was really struck by the story you told about the girl who emailed you, that she stopped cutting herself after listening to your talk. I was wondering if she still emails you every 30 days.
No, she doesn't anymore. She's older, right? So she was like 17. That was, 11 years ago.
Okay.
And what's amazing is, right, I could, the amount of emails that we receive from kids, in the schools that we walk into on a daily basis, is what really drives me, right? She was something that completely impacted me. I never heard of self-harm when she reached out to me. 11 years ago, 10 years ago, I didn't know kids cut themselves in that way. So she was kind of my introduction to a completely different world that I believed, like drugs and alcohol, was in the dark and not recognized enough and not talked about enough.
Question for you, like being around a rodeo scene a lot and seeing a lot of the guys go through the same thing of, popping pills, fentanyl, that stuff, just to be able to ride, whatever they're going to ride, to not feel it. Like, how do you bring that up how do you bring more attention to that?
Well, I think there's multiple ways, right? But I think a very impactful way is by sharing your own story with people who are doing what you're doing, right? And I think it's not comparing, it's allowing people to kind of identify. And as someone in that scene, as you touched on, and living in recovery, it's possible. And the journey is different, the time could be different. The recovery process, the healing process, and I'm referring to, injuries in sports, right? Oftentimes we take the shortcut, and we'll take a pill to solve the immediate problem. And I reflect back on some of my injuries and surgeries, and there was definitely other avenues that I could have explored to do it from a healthier perspective and a healthier angle. But again, I think it's unbelievably powerful when you meet people, and you're able to share your story and let them know that, I too am in this world, and I am sober, and I'm managing this world and my recovery at the same time.
Here in our local culture in El Paso, there's a lot of wanting to look the other way, wanting to believe that this is just like that substance use is just like a cultural thing, especially alcohol use, that it's a phase, or they end up going more towards religion, and that's where recovery tends to come from.
In hindsight, I go back at my college experience, and I was never introduced to other people who were willing participants in recovery. Everyone who I was introduced to, during college that was in recovery were there because of something punitive, right? It was kind of mandatory. They had to take part in the process. I look back and it's interesting to see if I would have met someone my age with similar background that I could identify with and kind of jump on that road to recovery with them. So what, people are doing today on college campuses is just amazing. And, whether it's 5 or 500, it's enough. And, it matters. So thank you for all the work you do.
So
Thank
much,
you.
Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, brother. I like the hat too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The hat's tough. It's tough.